being there. I think thank you for having there. Yeah, of course, and I think it's always nice to listen to biologists. They have so many things to say, and of course they relate us in terms that we live in the same nature. So they help us to find alignment in between life and nature, and this is what we are.
Mm.
And
And,
today I
and
have
art
sorry.
too. I loved how the art
Yeah,
connection, like many
it's true.
facets.
It's true, and it is not a like all the time this kind of opportunity. So that's why I decided just to send the invitation. And today I brought something for the group that I would like someone to play and just share it if you don't mind, because I'm not gonna be able to map, of course, and I'm in the phone. But if you can play this, then yeah, I mean sharing the screen. It takes just a few seconds, but I hope you like it, Tiberius, as well. I was just thinking on this wealth transfer, and I thought that some of kind of illustration, maybe as a small intro or just as a drawing that I wrote for this. I don't see it, right? But it's okay.
I'm sharing now. Here we go.
Okay.
Not yet. Yeah, okay, there we go.
In there.
Okay.
No, it doesn't have sound. It is just the visuals. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's a
So
video?
it's a small video. I think it came the other way around, and in my screen it was not looking exactly like upside down. But
It was looking
I
upside down
wasn't.
on my screen too, yeah. Oh.
It was in the reflection of wealth transfer, and then about wealth transformation and how to transform capital into life. So at the end, it was about life's capital. And this is like the deep reflection that I got, and I just illustrated, and I wanted to share it with you guys because you have been like a beautiful inspiration for me, and that's it. So if you find use of that to something, then I'm happy to share the original file, of course.
So what is the spiral inspires you?
This is the way that I write in general. And as I say, it started as wealth transfer. And then I realized that transfer and transformation, they have the same beginning. And that it was actually more on trans wealth. And then transformation of capital into life. And then it's kind of organic way of drawing. So I don't have any shape in mind when I started. And I'm just drawing and writing. And then it becomes into something.
It makes me think, Hugo, have you ever done that with like all of the words? Regenerate, I mean, you can make millions of different RE words, and it could just be kind of fun with your artwork there, like showing some of the different ones. I don't know.
It's a good idea. No, I haven't thought about it. Like I was really thinking this. I did it yesterday, and I was thinking on today, and that's why how I felt to do it. But no, I haven't had that for the region part.
Just curious. Very cool though. Thanks for sharing. Can we see your little ones? I want to see your kids.
And not you won't be able to see it.
Okay. Someday I'll meet them.
Yeah, they're around there.
Oh,
It's
fun.
just a small part.
Skate park, cool.
Yeah, Yeah. Since I'm just single parenting, then I decided to get started. Let me change it.
Cute.
Thank you. That was what I wanted to share.
Yeah, Vinny asked us to do some visuals. I'm a very bad artist, but I'll see around who could maybe translate. I just did a funding proposal, and we had to do some storyboarding, and nobody wanted to do it. In the end, I had to do something. So I found this website. I found this web app that helps you do storyboarding. So I'm very bad, in drawing, but I just use some automated tools to generate some cartoons. My brother is an illustrationist.
What's the website? Because I'm in the same boat. I draw a bad stick figure. That's how bad I am.
Oh yes. Well, this is required in this grant proposal. I think it's because I tried 2 or 3, and I've ended up using just one. It's storyboard this.
Okay.
Storyboard this.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they have a free version. It's pretty simple. Allows you to put some people in a background and choose the background, put some people there, make some dialogue, and and if you pay more, you have more. Yeah, it's storyboard this. Yes, it's still pictures. It's like a storyboard, not a video. But there's also websites that allows you to do videos.
Cool, thanks.
Mhm.
Well, and I don't have any visuals, so sorry, failed my homework.
I'm good to brainstorm about visuals and generate ideas because I'm more
Yeah.
conceptual.
You see, we're more imaginative beings than other things. So we have a really developed prefrontal cortex. So
But
it's-
you can also use Seven Vortex for like unfolding and recording on the top, as we've been using it for this kind of conversations. So you can have more time and then using it in the same way. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I did it, because I needed to unfold the system mapping in a specific way.
Mhm.
yeah, and welcome, Danilo. Danilo, good morning, my friend. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, very nice to have you here. As always, as usual. I prefer as always the as usual. As usual is so normative, isn't it? Well, let's it puts us in that place that we're in the normativity of the matrix, right? So as usual, no, as always is best. So folks, I invited a friend, a good friend of years from Bolivia, Marcos Ubieta, but he had a last invitation the same time here. We're doing this fifth touchdown uh, about something that he was really aiming to be in, and I think that he won't be with us this week, but certainly he will be with us next week, right? And he invited a friend of him that I don't know called Conca. He might show up, but I don't know. So in that sense, I think that we already started here, the fifth touchdown, and I want to show once again, Hugo, if you permit me, I want to show your illustration that was very beautiful to Danilo. He hasn't saw it, so Very, very inspiring as usual. No, as always. I, I have to be really attentive to that. Wait a minute. Here we go. Are you guys seeing?
Not yet.
Yeah, I see it. I think that now it'll go because it was. Oh my gosh, it's not cosmic music, but it is too. It's not cosmic music, but it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That is not mine, but it looks cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish.
Here you go.
Hmm. This is nice.
It was just about the transformation of capital into life capital.
That's interesting. The concept, life capital.
Yeah, I think if we can from money create more life, I think it's already something a little bit more positive than what we are doing right now.
And how do we create more life with money?
Yeah, well, investing, for example, one part of life, it's the life as we know it in terms of biodiversity and respecting other beings and bringing nature into a healthy condition. That would be for me the basic approach. And then, of course, you have many others. It's very multidimensional. But in this way, we can have some ground as well to talk about nature and the natural flows.
And Danilo, did you see that has a Chion there? Chion?
Where?
Yeah, Chion
Oh,
here.
yes.
Yeah, transformation, Chion. So uh, for you guys that don't know about Chion, you could speak a little bit about Chion because we're actually putting a lot of energy in it. So,
Yeah.
but
So Tion, the idea of Tion is to create spaces where people who works with meditation and let's say in the self-awareness or spiritual or meditative area, they can come together um, and and connect and also build communities. So basically, they have a space to build communities and also to connect within communities. And for that, we have um, the the app, the Tion app, that it's ready for Android, which is basically a space like a social media for um, the meditation and things related, we could say, to meditation. That's easier than to explain all the categories. Um, and also we are planning on doing like physical encounters where we would have these connections and these interactions in a one-to-one way. But for now, we're starting with online meetings, weekly online meetings, and with the intention of creating a space where people can come together and interact and co-create and like create a space where things allow you have the opportunity to flow with different ecosystems. Let's say for um, in this case for meditation teachers, designers, artists, and people who would be on the chats or the encounters. So yeah, this is about Tion. It's one of the projects that I've been working on for some time now, and now we're starting to engage people. Um, I wanted to ask about um, um, the flow of capital because today, let's say today we know where it needs to flow, right? Today we know, like, because there are a lot of things that have um, there are a lot of problems that we know today, and we know where the or we have an idea of where the capital should go. But and basically, what we consider today is, okay, if life capital would be going towards that direction, right? To where we know we can solve problems. But let's say, hopefully, if these problems are solved in 10, 20 years, this won't be the problem anymore. But there will still be problems, other problems, because I think this is part of life, as going through cycles and having regeneration periods. And so how could we define life capital in this perspective, in this idea of, okay, we know that in 20 years there will be other kinds of problems. So what is life capital? Because in later on it would then we would have to define what it is. um I don't know if you understand what I mean, or should I try to
No, for me it's fine, but maybe we have different answers to that. And I think this is part of what we've been learning, that there is not like nature doesn't work in monocultures. Nature works in diversity. So maybe the fact that we want to align everything to just one perspective, it is not exactly the beginning for creating a flow that that is a flux of something similar to what our context is in one way. So say that I'm thinking that is just from my perspective. I think it goes more into living in thriving ecosystems. So if we can live in places of abundance where food is available, good air and water, and all these things, is basic things, are available in abundance, then I think it's a good beginning. And that doesn't take capital, that takes more will, for example. So I'm not sure that capital is a discussion, but of course I put it in purpose because this is how we understand wealth right now in terms of capital. But my learning, as I expressed it many times, is that exchanges in energy in nature, they are about energy and how to invest energy at the same time that we don't lose energy. So if we can do win-win situations, so if we put, for example, a tree in the soil, is adding value to the soil while it's adding value to the atmosphere, while it's adding value to other species. And of course, as you said, in this perspective, there is always a dynamic non-equilibrium, which is if there is not just positive relations in nature, and we are all connected in different ways. So at some point there are predators, competition, and all is part of the same system. So there is not right or wrong as we like to like polarized conversations. So I'm not trying to say that there is just one right way because it's a dynamic, but I can thoroughly see and feel that if we have mother trees, if we have better fruits, if we have better oxygen, if we have better water, then our quality of life increases, While if we keep thinking just about technology as an end, then I'm not sure that that will allow us to have more life. Because whenever you are thinking about technology, it goes into mining more sometimes. So I see that the way that we bring technology is very primitive, like in terms of humanity. So how can we make technology, for example, that once that the life cycle has finished, then it can be benign constituent for the other parts of the system, and not something that takes longer and that it cannot decompose itself in a way that adds value to the system. How can we use it for enhancing our senses and understanding the metabolism of the planet, for example, so we have a better understanding that we live in something that is alive as well. So enhancing these life fluxes, I think, is what is in my mind about life capital.
Very interesting. And so the idea is to bring a broader perspective of at least your idea. I'm trying to interpret what I heard, and you let me know if it's right or wrong. It's to bring a broader perspective of what it's life, in a sense. And why do, if we, of course, this is like this is a very the answer is very very clear, but I would like to go a little bit deeper in the aspect of why if we have better earth and water and food, life will be better. Like I understand how it has the impact, but I want to try to look into what are the properties of earth and air and all these elements that would make life better overall.
Mhm. So I think in my case, I'm talking from experience. So living in a healthy ecosystem makes me more vitalized. Like my health was better than living in Mexico City, for example, when I felt it was toxic. Uh, Food was great, much more flavor, and you can feel the quality. And the air, I didn't have so many allergies in general. I had other problems like other insects, like scorpions and things that I don't have in cities, of course. But walking barefoot, it just eased my mind, and understanding the cycles of the sea helped me a lot to understand that the earth was or is alive, because it wasn't just linear and like sharp and squared angles everywhere, but it was more about something that could be connected everything with everything, and that helped me to feel better. So living there, I understood that I was doing what it was in my hands to try to share this experience. And I think that is why also I've been trying to build this set of tools, digital tools. I spent time with no internet there, like more than 1 year, and it was beautiful. So I believe that Mexico City, for example, if we can make Mexico City as a healthy biosphere and bringing water again and all these elements, so the claxons and the cars, the machines, the never sleeping city will sound completely different. And I think health will be better. And that's at least a good beginning.
When it makes me think of fractals, and it's like from the biome in our gut and all of the microbacteria that make up really us, and then us as humans, then us as a family, community, country, world, just spiraling out. Anywhere in the system that there's pollution, or something out of balance so that it turns into a poison, then it's going to affect the whole system. And so, I don't know, to me, that's kind of what I think of as Hugo's talking about the living in nature versus the city. And it's like, yeah, the more pollution you're taking in just takes away really like the body's opportunity to live life and to its full potential and its full health. And so to me, like that's a big part of what I think of as life capital. It's just your both mental and physical and spiritual well-being and all of the aspects that come together to make your life, would you rather be healthy and happy or sick and polluted, maybe till the point where it deals with cancer or other diseases, and so I mean, to me, that's the most important thing. I've never lived in a full-on city except for like very short periods of time, just because, yeah, that the toxic influence is not worth it to me and my little biosphere of my body. Whereas when I'm in nature, it just brings back that vitality of life and makes me glow and makes me healthier so that then I can do more in the world and everything. And to me, that's really life capital. And so it's, yeah, we're holistic beings completely, as is the earth. And so we're just this micro of the macro, which even extends out past the earth and to the universe. As Hugo knows, I study a lot about Alexander von Humboldt and his work of really looking at the interconnections of all of life, as well as then he brought in the importance of spirituality and art and connecting those with science as well, and exploration and getting out into nature and just seeing the connections and the relationships. And also I study a lot about Buckminster Fuller's work and really looking too at how he says, start at the universal level and then kind of work down, and then everything will be covered if you start there. So more tangible, I think, about the earth. And so, yeah, if we get healthy there, everybody will be healthy. But anyways, I'll stop rambling. Just some thoughts.
So it's an idea that will it's bringing from what I feel, it's like bringing an ecosystem perspective to people, in terms of earth, at least the earth ecosystem. Of course there are more, like there's solar, there are bigger ecosystems that probably we are not aware of how we are interacting with. So the first thing would be to bring an ecosystem perspective to the participants, or to people, and from that try to analyze once again the aspects of life. That's how I feel. Maybe this was the process that's you went through a little bit to like, and so life capital, it is a capital that we could say it flows from an ecosystem perspective.
Danilo, I would like to make you a small appreciation. I think you are just getting it completely right. But in terms of perspective, you are thinking as ecosystem as the contextual ecosystem that surrounds you. But what I also heard from Hannah, and I think this is also my perspective, is that inside you, you are also holder of many ecosystems, whether we see them or not, as when we are thinking about the solar. So all these kind of things are connected, and it is very difficult, at least for us, for example, my wife and myself, coming from this experience, to at the end separate things. But it was okay, so it's all connected. How can we do it? It is about personal health and planetary health, more in this way. And if we can create or understand how the rules of the context, or rules of the game, if you want to see it like this, which is nature, not us putting the rules of capital, but whatever already exists, whether we want to deny it or accept it. But this is how it is, reality. And from there, working backwards and saying, what is the best way for us to adapt? And of course, we don't hold the answers. So that's why it is important to take into consideration the diversity of cultures and perspectives on this, because there is not just one that would hold the answer, but there are many cultures, and indigenous cultures and ancient cultures and science and all these sort of perspectives that might even have patterns in between them. But I think respect is important, and understanding that our things are different for in between us. It's also interesting, but it is true that we are related to the place that we live. So in this way, as better the context is, my intuition says that the better your health is going to be if you interact in the right way with your physical space.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Sorry,
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah.
my
Yeah,
internet disconnected.
can hear you both. Yeah.
I heard until where you said.
So, guys, very interesting flow of conversation there. You have to give the time to brief, right? Because I think that we better understand perspectives if we can match the speed of the conversation with the speed of our breathing, right? So, in the sense that you have to when you put air in your lungs and you exhale it, you put it out, you give the time to, let's say, metabolize what you're just putting in. It's the air, it's the oxygen, and then when you exhale it, when you put it out, you some part of it is going to be with you, right? So I understand that the flow of a conversation, when it's done in this way, you give the time to brief it out, right? In a sense, to understand what just Danilo shared and the feedback that Hugo give, and the way that Hannah understands it. We really are in a place of a true conversation, of a true dialogue, or a true interaction, right? Because it's not a monologue, it's not a broadcasting, it's not you don't have that typical aggression of a broadcasting, a typical monolith, let's say, shape form messaging. So you feel really open to hear and to sense it out uh, through your sensory apparatus of your body, and of course of all the energies, that all the ecosystems that, as Hugo's just shared with us, that runs inside of us and runs within all the other ecosystems around. In my perspective, Danilo, the word capital is very, how I say, captured by an understanding that it's related to money or related to power, right? We can reimagine, we can rephrase it, we can re-understand this word, or if it's so difficult, we can create another. So in the commons and the peer-to-peer paradigm movement, uh, uh, the way to rephrase capital is putting it in the past tense. So folks related to the peer-to-peer paradigm and the commons, they say that we're in a post-capitalist or post-capital era, right? And uh, I, I feel tempted to resonate value with this expression post-capitalist, but it embeds uh, some how I say some notion that all the folks that are not in this post-capitalist era, they are not doing the right move, let's say the right movements, that they can't experience, let's say, life capital. You see, you can be in a very capital and captive society driven, and even so you can feel the life capital that Hugo is just sharing with us, because it's within us, right? It's in us and it's within us. We just don't access it, or we just don't have really awareness about it, or we don't develop awareness, ethically speaking, as society about it, or we did it so, but we don't do it now, right? As societies. So that's very interesting. So I was here hearing you guys talk, and I was briefing with him and trying to understand the flow of the conversations and what is really, uh, let's say, making you such question the expression of Danilo, you see. And I found it very rich just to hear it, right? Just to hear. And that said, uh, I don't know if you guys know a guy called Bio Accumulate. Do you know a guy called Bio Accumulate? He's a very interesting guy, as all of us are. And he understands himself more as a poet than a philosopher, as is known. But he will eventually will be with us here in the wealth transfer. And there's a video done by some friends of mine here in Brazil, the conversation with him. I'm going to try to share with you guys now. I don't know if the audio of this notebook that I'm using is going to be compatible to you here, right? But it's only 7, 8 minutes, so it's very quick. And I think that is going to enrich even more our conversations here. So buckle up. Let's be acquainted to bio, right? Wait a sec. Oh, this is not the English one. This is the Portuguese one. Wait just a sec. I think that she's going to speak in English. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's in English. Yeah. Oh, we're not gonna make it. It's very, very low. Chibi, would you put this link in your PC? I don't know if you're in a PC, but because it's very low, the audio is very low, or even Hannah, if Hannah has
I'm not on the PC now.
or you're not in a
I was
PC
also
now.
on, yeah.
Hannah, are you on the PC?
It's an Airbook. Yeah, I can try if you put the
Yeah,
link.
please.
I don't know how good my internet is.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to hear him.
Yeah.
I'm going to put.
Familiar. I wonder if he's spoken at Pioneers before.
I I don't I don't know. He has pioneers know about him,
Yeah.
but I think so. I put in the chat.
Yeah. Let me, it's pulling up. Okay. Let me just a sec. Hopefully my internet's fast enough. Let me pause it. Pause. Okay. Share screen.
It starts at the 17 seconds, I think. Yeah. She's going to introduce in Portuguese and.
Okay. Then yeah, this is right. 14 seconds here.
From Nigeria, born and bred. I live in India. I'm a retired recovering psychologist, clinical psychologist. I teach in a university. I'm a father. I'm a life partner to one of the most amazing creatures on earth. Well,
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
name that I
can hear
give
it.
idea that we need to slow down. The times are urgent. Let us slow down.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to turn up the volume.
It's paradoxical. When times are urgent, when things are urgent, you want to speed things up, right? You want to do more. You want to get in there. But I feel that we are in such a moment when our vision of our place in the world is changing. Our vision of ourselves as humans, our vision of our environment as resource, all these things are changing, and we can no longer see ourselves in the same way. Now, this is not just a story we're telling ourselves. This is really concrete, consequential stuff. For instance, there's a whole story and narrative around climate change, and that climate change is just weather patterns disturbing the narrative of development. And so what do? We stop it. We do our best to stop climate change, or we do our best to adapt our systems so that we can mitigate the impacts of climate change. But just the phenomenon of climate change is bringing us to realize that we have always had an impact on the world. And as a result, we can no longer distinguish ourselves from the environment. We're not separate from the world that we claim to be part of. We are the environment. We are part of the world. And so there's an upsurge of wisdom coming from multiple disciplines, from biology to sociology to psychology to quantum physics, that is telling us a different story. What they're telling us is that we are relational beings. We are essentially non-essential. We are relationships. We are not things in a vacuum, in a container. We are the earth touching itself in a way. And that's a radical, very disturbing, frightening picture of what a human being is. As a result, we can no longer think of the self as the industrial capitalist self that is atomized and separate from all other selves. We have to think of the self as a connection, as a congealment of many other selves, as a congealment of ideas and geology and biology and all of that. Well, to cut the long story short, if the story has changed, then we can no longer act in the ways we've acted before. I think Einstein comes to mind when he says, we can't approach, I'm paraphrasing it because I can't remember exactly how he put it, but we can't approach the problems with the same ideas or the same kinds of thinking that created the problems in the first place. So we need a new way of thinking about activism, about the environment, about ourselves, about our relationships, about technology. We have to rethink everything. So I am immersed in the fluidity and the streams of wisdom that are speaking these disturbing ideas, this disturbing but liberating ideas, framed the idea of post-activism. What comes to mind when we think of post-activism is after activism, post-activism, but that's not the idea, is post a certain practice of activism. What happens when we stretch the conversation of activism and touch the largeness of our body? What if trees have some things to teach us? What if there are capacities we're not aware of and ways of responding to crisis that we're not aware of because we framed ourselves as this industrial, scarce, atomized beings? What if there are other ways of relating to the world that we have excluded or we do not notice? So post-activism is an invitation not to find a special new way of solving our problems. It's not about solutions. It's about seeing the way we see. It's about questioning the question we ask. It's about troubling our problems. It's about shaking the plots and the narratives that we're so used to. And it's opening a way for practices that hold space for all these kinds of deep, immersive exploration of what it means to be on the planet today. So in framing the idea of a thin place, I borrowed that from the Celtic pagan spiritualities, which speak about places in the world or events that are so thin that it seems like the spiritual is pressing so hard on the fabric of the material that it's hard to escape. You know, just noticing the sunrise could be a thin place. In my configuration or in my understanding of a thin place, as it contributes to my understanding of post-activism, it's saying that we have to learn how to pay attention to what the world is doing, right? We have to find ways of listening to the world. There's a beautiful idea that I think is African. I read it in an African shaman's book, Malidoma Some, and he would talk about the elders pressing their ears to the ground. Those rituals, those ways of communing with the planet around us, with ourselves, with our grief, with our sorrow, with depression, with joy, with children, with grass, with sunlight, with sunrise, with dreams and moonlight and stars. Those ways are increasingly crowded out because we've become so busy, we've become so modern, and even the business of solving our problems is a business now. It's in the pipeline. And so there's no way of really slowing down to listen to what wants to be listened to or what is speaking to us. There are thin places around us. In fact, I would say every moment is a thin moment, is a thin place. It's sacred. If we're entangled and co-embodied with the world around us, if the world isn't dead, then mountains are not resources, objects that are in the way. They're obstacles, they have a presence, they have agency, and they shape us. So maybe it might seem far-fetched to ask the question, what would a mountain think? But I think there's a poetic and deep, sacred and spiritual invitation there to ask the question about our environment. We tend to think of lawns, manicured lawns like this one as just for our beauty, just for us to appreciate. But we are learning that the world is really alive. It has it has a say in how we emerge and how things emerge. So asking new questions is really the invitation here. So to ask, what would a mountain think? Well, that's a radical thing to do, but maybe we're trying to do the impossible. Maybe doing the impossible is what we should be doing right now.
Hoje a gente está aqui no Co-Creation.
Thanks a lot, Hannah. Thanks a lot. He will be with us shortly in the coming weeks, and he's a very interesting guy, as you just could hear and understand a little bit of his perspectives. And I think that what he just said contributes to what the flow of the conversation that we were having here, right? And just guys, let's just welcome and on board Melina. Melina, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. This is the weekly meetings, not the meetings, are gathering, weekly encounters or gathering of what we've been calling wealth transfer, right? And we're here not only to share our perspectives and to have really fluidic conversations, but to blueprint how this understanding of transfer of wealth, of a way that wealth is self-nurturing, not only us, but the life itself of the planet, is the main thing here. So be very welcome. And as we usually say here, we walk and do the talk, right? So we're not only talking, we're walking too. We're doing things. So be very welcome, Melina.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll repost the video in case you missed some of it, Melina, if you'd like to watch it on your own.
Great.
Came in after if you missed in the chat, there it is.
So
Yeah,
guys,
thank you.
what do you think that Bio just shared with us?
I just want to acknowledge that
it's in proximity with what you guys are understanding about nature, about wealth, about ecology, about relatedness to the planet, earthlings as a whole, or not?
I think this is the way it is. Like he's putting it as if we need to imagine what the mountain feels, if we need to imagine what the tree feels, and this is what it is. So if we can step a little bit forward that conversation, which I really like it, the way that he framed it, and from there then asking nature. So I don't know, timing for Melina being here is just really, as usual, the coincidence is beautiful. But Melina has a deep knowledge in how those nature work, and she calls herself a biosphere translator. So that's interesting because it is a way of course, we're always humanizing, but the thing that he's saying are things that, at least in my case, this is how I grew up. So I don't get why it is so difficult for everyone else to understand what it is.
Melina, please feel free to just comment if you want. This, let's say, this provocation that Hugo just shared with us, or even talk a little bit about you, and feel free.
Thank you very much, and hi Hugo, and hi everyone. And I put my camera, I was just in another place. So here I am. What I think that it is really important from what I just listened from this video, and that I had been thinking about many years about this, is that we consider ourselves in a very bad way. You know, we are always guilting ourselves of how we have been treating personally the others and the planet. And I think that that reflects for me, it's like a parasite thinking. We are natural beings. And if we really take this seriously, the only way that we can understand our behaviors is that we have been parasited by something, by a mindset, by a meme, by a gene, by an extraterrestrial, by whatever you want to name it. But to understand that when we arrive to be more close to our natural beings, everything enlightened. Everything is we recover this capacity to see beauty. We recover this capacity to be to have solidarity, real solidarity. We recover this capacity to feel loved, to love others, to give, to be in this primal and very basic state of what is to be a human. And we all have had these experiences because we were babies at some point. And babies are like that. Like where does it go? Like we don't know what is this real essence of nature in us. And if you see it as something that it is external and that it is just influencing our mind constantly in this inner dialogue that shamans have been talking about for millennia, it is very interesting seeing it as something that it is not your essence. And this is something just practical, because if you see it in this way, you stop to feel guilt of yourself, and that gives us a huge gate to a collective intelligence of let's do it in another way. So to open this conversation, it is just pragmatic. It's not something about defining what is this kind of parasite, whatever. It's a pragmatic thinking of something is just not giving us the right path, the right way. So let's come back to our heart, to our real feeling, to our real intuition, to our, like these deep gut feelings and knowing. That when we connect with that knowing, we are unstoppable. We just trust. We just are who we are. And that's super revolutionary. That's super, that's what we want. That's really what we want, to be who we are. And we are just confusing in our mind, who am I? Whatever, discover it through the path, walk who you are. And that's, I think, that an inflection point that we really need to pass over. And that if at some point we discover what parasite is, well, nice to see you. Go back to your place and stop to do that. It's just because we can trust. We can defeat it. We can defeat this mindset because we are connected with our heart. We are connected with who we are. And I think that all these things that he was naming as our being of, capitalism, scarcity, and all these things, I cannot identify myself with that anymore. you know. And if I take distance from that mindset, that is a very powerful way of really connecting with our own nature. It's a path to understand nature from being a human being, and
Yeah,
that's a big leap.
but being a human being isn't a narrative construct, in the sense that we have this capability to imagine everything, right? And
But we are not the only ones to do that.
yeah, I totally agree with you. But in our case, we construct mindsets, we construct narratives, construct mindsets, and we feel, let's say, impelled or captured by this mindsets of, or this, let's say, projection of what we understand as reality, the world. So in the sense, the very expression human being isn't something that we're just discovering what is to be a human being in the most profound ways, Melina, in a sense that we have to, let's say, make a type of deconstruction or a deprogrammation of all the mindsets, all the landscape of mindsets that we as narrative beings, we do it all the time. So uh, to feel this grounding that you're just sharing with us, don't get me wrong. I totally agree with what you just said. I'm just trying to aggregate this perspective that we live captured by our narratives, or the mindsets, the derivative mindsets of our narratives. So it's like what is to be, what is to feel this as an earthling, this complex being and simple as at the same time as an earthling of this planet, right? So I think this is a really a journey to deprogram, deconstruct, to access another perspectives, another narratives, another mindsets. So because if you don't do that, you only will think that the reality is where you're culturally related, where you live with the folks that you are related, and we go to these tribal forms, right? And the tribe where my tribal, I only really my understanding is that I have to make my tribal continue to exist. So the surviving of my tribal is the very thing that I understand that is the life capital of my existence. Let's say. So I'm just provoking. Okay, this is. I'm not here instantiating nothing definitive, just provoking because I felt provoked by what you just shared with us, and I'm very grateful. Okay, Melina, and just to enlarge, let's say, our conversation here. So that's it. So I don't know if Chibi and Danilo and Hannah will agree or not, or understand or not what I just shared, but that's it. That what was I felt as you were talking and sharing.
I mean, Lena, I really appreciate your perspective and thoughts, and it really reminds me a lot of what I'm going through in my life right now. And I've just, for the last 6 months until this week, have lived right on a river, looking out at the Pacific Ocean, super close to nature. I feel changed in my DNA, having been able to be this intimate with nature and the birds and everything, and this willow tree that I would go and sit with every morning. And the last morning, the lessons that came to me from the willow tree and the river were to just dig deep, to dig down through the sludge and the mud and the muck that's in me emotionally, that I just kind of skim over and don't deal with. And it came up because last week was my birthday, and my boyfriend basically completely let me down and basically ended our relationship on my birthday, letting me down so much. The people I was from the house kicked me out, just a lot of like literally shit thrown on me this week. And so the lesson was just dig deep into the soul, through all that hurt, into the gold and the diamonds of who I really am. And so I've just now been trying to do that and tap into the emotions that I normally just don't go there. And for my own perspective, and then also what you were talking about, is also the importance of our languaging. And I think this really relates to our conversation in this whole group of our languaging, especially like if we can come from speaking in the place of abundance and positivity and yeah, to not be in that parasitic mindset of humans and put humans ourselves down because of what we're doing, but instead to focus on the more positive things. And an example is we're working on a project to bring recording studios to refugee camps and Native American reservations, and actually to some Amazon tribes in Brazil. And so as we're putting together the information on this, somebody was like, well, don't say underprivileged youth. These are the most resilient youth in the world. Call them resilient rather than underserved or underprivileged. And it's just like, wow, yeah, to switch. And so I think in the transfer of wealth, that transfer of mindset also to, hey, let's all be creating abundance and support and love in those positive relationships rather than focusing on the negative ones. And I'm just trying to kind of also dealing with that now emotionally as all this kind of stuff is bubbling up. Okay, how do I embrace it, deal with it, but try to change my relationship so it's not just beating me down more. So anyways, just where my thoughts are going.
Hannah, thank you very much for sharing and for telling us about where you're passing by. I think what we should be doing is stop resisting what is really going on. And you just made me think about that. You know, if going into these muddy emotional states that we had been confronting and carry for a long time, and that just something happened and just we are straight there and stop resisting that. Like we don't have to keep condemning the emotional states. Emotions are really like a compass for our life. If we are not feeling good, we are not feeling good. Somebody died, we will cry, we feel bad, we feel sad, we feel angry, we feel abandoned, we feel that's what's going on. We have to stop to put this layer of positivity as well over everything. You know, it's like making a cake of mold and like just decompose something and just tapping in with a nice sugar cream. Like many times we are called to do that. Many times, like the whole society and this whole consumption society is made of buy something new and you will be happy. Don't put attention to those feelings that are just pulling you so down. That's so bad, like be positive. We need to be positive. Come on, people, let's be positive. The culture of positivity, but everything is rotten under that. Everything is rotten at this point of life. Everything is rotten. like the inequity that we are living. I am in Colombia, and we have been having a strike for almost a month. And today, the president of the United States said that he is with the government, even if the government has been killing people, and he just put into questions, and he will research all the denouncing that has been happening in Colombia, and not the government, like everything is just so bad. And we need to go through that rabbit hole. We cannot not doing it. It's the time to go through the rabbit hole and to, like do our personal work on that, which is totally confronting but it's exactly as you said. That's the gold is hiding there. The little precious stone is there. And what it is there, that stone is our essence. We need to go to look for it. That's what we need to bring back to the surface. That's the place where we have to express ourselves. And we cannot define that enough in advance. That's the point. That's why we can be lost, as Vinicius was saying, we can be lost in the narrative of it. We can be lost of the less deconstruct rationally the whole civilization of the last 10,000 years. No, no, thank you. Like, maybe somebody wants to do that, but there are shorter paths, and there are more difficult paths, actually. It's kind of jumping out from a cliff, or, it's just like a declimbing a wall, or, but it is going to that place that we have been told that we shouldn't be. Like we have been educated out of our essence. So we really need to be revolutionary in ourselves to allow that everything that we are resisting just pass, just enlarge. So, for example, if I want to buy, I don't know, something that doesn't make any important thing in your life, like you just want this thing, I want this speaker or whatever. And you say, no, that's consumism, so why I will buy another one if I have this old one? And I just, and maybe you're right, but at the same time, why you are struggling with that? That's the point. The point is the struggle, not the thing. Why you are resisting something that you want spontaneously. Go to that place of resistance. Go to that place of, and it is any more about the thing that you want to buy, or the trip you want to do, or the experience you want to have. It's about why you are resisting that. Why you are feeling guilt about wanting something. Like desire has been condemned in, like, oh, let's save the planet, so let's not consume anything. But I want that. But I hide that. I hide the wanting because it's condemned by my social system. There is a system that's completely positive and go and buy. And there is this other system, this polarity of the system that will say, don't do that. That's consumption, overconsumption. You are so privileged. You don't have to want anything. But the fact is that both positions have hidden things under that wantings. Yeah, one side is just wanting to be the best and wanting to na, and the other one, it has just this guilty and self-condemned attitudes, but they are the two poles of the same thing. So we need to really understand that we are caught in that polarity and that we need to jump to another perspective. So if you really want that, and you discover why you are resistant, and you pass through all the emotional processes that this is telling you something. You know, like you're born in a family that they were from the 60s hippies, and they are against everything and the consumption, and you are very environmentalist and whatever, and you see, if I buy this will be bad. Is it really? You know, what are you going to do with that? No, I'm going to, you know, bring the speaker to the park and gather people around it to talk about things, and we will be, you know, whatever. So it says like a buy your speaker, you know, it's kind of, don't resist what is coming from your authentic being. That's the word, like to be authentic.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, Melina. I just don't want to stop you because you're going direct to the point. But we just have here in the top of the hour, Conca from, I don't know, Conca. Are you in Cochabamba in Bolivia with Marco, Conca?
Hello, everybody. Excuse me for interrupting also. I am actually now I live in La Paz. I am from La Paz, Bolivia. And Marco lives in Cochabamba.
Yeah.
He has requested me to come into this meeting to apologize, please, the fact that he is not being part of this today, because we're also engaged in another set of meetings with this group for some investments in our country. It's still in the same dimension of the Green Fab Labs, what we are developing here in Bolivia. It's laboratories and fabrics and like fabulous, but also they are, as you might know already, they are combined with the green aspect, reforesting, doing forests, small forests, and also agroecological production of food and some other supplies, agricultural supplies, and trying to mix with technology and with high technology and front technology and same needs of the earth and the soils and the water sources. So I just, in this fast introduction, I am an agronomist. I have this mastership in agroecology. I do my own gardens here, and I'm also having my own nursery for trees, for fruit trees and forest trees. I'm not too good into the technology things that as Marco is. Marco Subieta is more like a technological geek, a computer geek. He knows a lot on that. We like complement our knowledges, and we're still pushing along this biomimetics and symbiotic systems. Also trying to have alternative forms of life other than what our states can provide us. That's it. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Wow, Conca, that was quite quick, man. Well, pleasure to have you here. Yes, as I said, we're in the top of the hour, so it would be really good to have you and Zubieta next week with us, right? Same day, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. here. I was going to say, Hannah, Brazilian time zone, but
no, it's okay. Yes. Yes. It'd be like 11 hours here. It's 1 hour before. So yes, please, Vinicius and the rest of the participants in this meeting, please excuse us for this this time. Okay, next Friday will be part from the beginning at the end. And now I need to apologize myself also for abandoning this meeting also. But I promise that we will have a lot more to say and to participate next Friday. Okay?
Okay, Conca. Thanks a lot, man, for coming.
Thank you a lot to you, Vinicius, and a big hug to all of you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye, man.
Thank you.
Well, let's just finish this. I would like to just hear a little bit from Chibi. Chibi was very quiet today. Was in his hearing mode, but Chibi is the guy, Melina, that loves to talk. So it was very strange to only him to be in the hearing mode. So come on, Chibi.
Yes. Well, sometimes you just have to listen and absorb. Yeah, it's pretty good. It was nice to get a feeling of what of people's mood in Colombia. I would like to maybe one day get more of that and see how peer-to-peer and commons-based peer production could perhaps provide some help and some hope, you know, more than anything else. Yeah, and I was listening to the discussion about the capacity of life and all that. That's pretty, which is nothing much to add there. Just um, trigger some thought processes, So I'll just sleep on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Melina was sharing her thoughts, her profound thoughts, let me say, I was thinking about that caterpillar figure that we're talking here about. We always talk about the caterpillar here. So the transformation of the caterpillar to a butterfly, right? And the caterpillar liquefies itself to become, literally liquefies itself to become a butterfly. So if I'm going to make some type of connection, Melina, I would make it in this way. I want to call shadows because there's a lot of methodology around this thing. When you're doing your shadow working, no, I don't think that anything has any human being that's put in existence has to understand what is shadow working and its respective methodology to liquefies itself, right, and to become various types of butterfly. But I was just remembering of this caterpillar and butterfly thing that is not in the is a complex nature phenomenon, right? And a very interactive, interdependent too. And we could say that is not only in the autopoietic mode, right? But it's in the outer poietic mode because it always how I say is being nurtured by the ambience where the caterpillar chooses to become a butterfly, let's say. Uh, all the instance of climates and the tree and the leaf, everything around is being part of that death and birth, let's say. And something that we were talking, even we have been talking a lot about death and birth, and it's interesting how these things are very integral, right? They're not a polarized position, and what I was talking when I was trying to say about narratives and mindset, that we have I don't know if we have really the tendency or is the mindset that we are captured by or parasited by makes us believe that we are always in opposite positions or we are always in polarized positions, right? So that's why I'm in not in Buddha, not in the religious way, but in the philosophical, in the practices way of Buddhism, because in some sense you can try you make a move to how to say to uh, put it out all this, not only access the inner gut of your of all the pains and things that you are really not dealing with, but you make a type of peace of mind, right? Not peace of mind in the sense that, oh, okay, I'm okay with everyone and everything. No, just you just try to clean, have a blank slate, right? A blank slate, to just feel how this blank slate relates to, in a very mind, let's say mind degree, mind realm, right? Feels with you, touches you, or makes you feel the world not with the lenses that we be educated for, that, as you said, Melina. And it's very interesting because sometimes uh, you sometimes, or even a lot of times, you can feel frightened. You can feel frightened because you feel that you don't have those 2 feet on the ground, let's say, anymore. You don't have all the don't have all the rational apparatus, the rationality apparatus to echolocate you and to say where you are, what's your culture, what is your language. So you're in the space that it's a non-space, but it's all the spaces at the same time. You see, you're in the space, it's a non-space, all the space. And this is a practice that I've been doing for decades, and I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning. I'm still frightened. And I'm asking myself, what is going on, man? What is going on that I practice this almost in daily basis, right? My meditation, my profound meditation, and my pranayamas and things like that. I really feel that I blank slate myself, the seed that I put, and I feel that I still feel frightened, right? So I think this must have some relation, Melina, with you just shared with us, right? Maybe I'm still controlling the experience. Maybe. Maybe I think that I'm not, but I am. And if we let control of it, right? And I think that my fear, it must be there. I have just to let the oh, that little instance of controlling that I'm even not aware that I'm doing, right? Even not aware. But it's so thrilling because when I come back, let's say, to this conscious beings that we are, I feel so energized. I feel so energized. I feel so interconnected with some things, with all things, and it's incredible. It's really incredible, and I feel compelled to share. Okay, Melina, because I feel compelled because Hannah shared too, and you shared in a so profound way. So that's it. I don't have nothing more to say. Just to add how it's this for me is the ultimate way and thing that we, our species as a whole, can do to really touch profoundly ourselves, in ourselves, and to really to establish, to be open to others, right? Because when I come out of this experience, I feel so open to hear everyone. I feel so open to hug everyone. I feel so open to be with everyone. I feel the need to be with everyone. You see, it's not so that that egotistical self place that we all are finding ourselves now goes away. And I really feel in the flow in between all the manifestations that are happening around. So that's my final thoughts for today, for this touchdown. And if you guys want to just say a little bit more, we can wrap this up. And Melina, what a treasure to have you here.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that we are more afraid of our own light and the love of the universe than from anything else.
just want to say, as you were thinking, as you were speaking, the vision of us being mycelium and like this blank slate, but also like this communicator kind of for kind of whatever's out there here on the earth. But I relate a lot with mycelium and doing that energy exchange. And so fun to exchange energy with you all here today. I guess one last thought that came to me also is the paradox of life, and especially with COVID. When you mentioned hugging somebody, I'm like, oh my God, like, wow, yeah, hugging. It's still not quite doing that yet, but how COVID has also separated us and done all these things, but then also brought us together more as a world community. And here I am having this dialogue with all of you. We're all in different countries, all spread around the world. And yet here we are and exchanging this energy, and it's so many good things can come from it all. And so, yeah, not judging good and bad and everything, of just being there with it. So thank you. And I'll get up early again next Friday and try to join you.
So Chibi, if you don't have anything to say, just stay in that position. We can edit it. Okay, it's okay for me. Well, folks, bye-bye. It was a pleasure, Melina. Pleasure, Hannah. Pleasure, Chibi. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more. We'll make more journeys, more deep dives.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.